المؤمن التقي والكافر الشقي. The God-fearing believer and the miserable blasphemer. ضرب الله تعالى في القرآن الكريم العديد من الأمثال. God, exalted is He, gave in the noble Quran numerous parables or examples. ليظهر للناس بعض الحكم في أحوالهم وأعمالهم وعواقب تصرفاتهم. So to show to the people, to expose to the people some of the wisdoms in their situations and their actions and their outcomes, the results of their behaviors. وَمِنْهَا مَا وَرَدَ فِي سُورَةِ الْكَهْفِ. One of them came in Surah Al-Kahf. حيث وردت قصة الرجلين اللذين كان أحدهما مؤمنا تقيا. Where there came the story of two men. The two men that one of them was a God-fearing believer, وَالْآخَرُ كَافِرًا غَنِيًّا شَقِيًّا, and the other was a wealthy, miserable kafir, a wealthy, rotten kafir. فَأَظْهَرَ اللَّهُ تَعَالَى عَدْلَهُ. And in this story, God displayed His justice. وَضَرَبَ مَثَلَهُمَا كَيْ لَا يَغْتَرَّ النَّاسُ بِالدُّنْيَا. And He gave their examples so that the people would not be enticed by the world. وَيَنْسُوا الْآخِرَةِ. And so that they would not forget the afterlife. وَذَلِكَ أَنَّهُ كَانَ فِي بَنِي إِسْرَائِيلَ أَخَوَانِ. And that story is that there was amongst the children of Israel two brothers. Two brothers. أَحَدُهُمَا اسْمُهُ يَهُوذَا. One of them, his name was Judah. وَهُوَ مُسْلِمٌ مُؤْمِنٌ طَيِّبٌ. He was a good Muslim believer. يُحِبُّ الْخَيْرِ. He loved the good. وَيُكْثِرُ مِنْهُ. And he would do a lot of it. He was a good doer. He's a good person. وَأَمَّا الْآخَرِ. And as for the other, فَاسْمُهُ فَرْتُوس. His name was Fartus. وَكَانَ عَابِدًا لِلْأَصْنَامِ. And he was a worshipper of idols. وَالْعِيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ. كَافِرًا جَاحِدًا شَحِيحًا بَخِيلًا. A miserly, stingy, stubborn kafir. Jafi الطبع. Naturally rude. وَلَمَّا مَاتَ أَبُوهُمَا. يعني stuck up. وَلَمَّا مَاتَ أَبُوهُمَا اقْتَسَمَا مَالَهُ. سبحانallah wa bihamdi. Just very interesting how a person who has money thinks he's important. Has he has a sense of self-importance. And he's delusional. He lives in delusion. And he thinks really he's not delusional. وَلَمَّا مَاتَ أَبُوهُمَا اقْتَسَمَا مَالَهُ. When their father passed away, they divided his money. فأنفق كل منهما حصته فيما يلائم طبعه وما يحب. And each one of them spent his money, spent his share on what is the kind of thing he would do. ما يلائم طبعه. What complies with his nature. So one of them's good Muslim, so he's going to do with that money good things. And one of them, he's miserly kafir, so he's going to, for example, invest his money so he can make more money. Not for the sake of Allah, that is. He's not going to be spending his money for the sake of Allah. أما يهوذا فقد اشترى عبيدا مملوكين بألف دينار. Now as for Judah, he purchased slaves for 1,000 dinars فأعتقهم, and he set them free. وجعلهم أحرارا لله تعالى, he liberated them for the sake of God. ثم اشترى ثيابا بألف دينار, then he purchased clothing for 1,000 golden coins. وكسى الفقراء العراء وكسى الفقراء العراة, and he clothed the naked poor people. ابتغاء مرضات الله عز وجل, he did that seeking the acceptance of God, invincible and great. واشترى بألف ثالثة طعاما وأطعم الجائعين, and with another 1,000 he purchased food and fed the starving. وبنى المساجد, and he built masjids. وأكثر من فعل الخير, and he did a lot of good. وبذل المعروف, and he he did a lot of favors and philanthropy. وأعان من استطاع إعانتهم حتى نفد ماله, and he helped anyone he could help until his money exhausted, until his money depleted or ran out. ولكنه كان مسرورا بما فعل, but he was happy with what he did. راجيا الثواب والرحمة من الله عز وجل, hopeful for the reward and the mercy from God, invincible and great. Yes. So he was firm that his spending the money for the sake of Allah makes the goodness increase. He wasn't afraid of the depletion of money. He was more concerned with the increase of the good. وأما فرطوس, but as for فرطوس الأخ الكافر, the kafir brother, فإنه ما كاد يستلم ماله, he practically released any money. حتى وضع عليه المفاتيح, he put all of his money behind lock and key. وحرم الفقير السائل, and he deprived any poor beggar. وشتم من قصده للإعانة, and he insulted anyone who came to him for help. So he's like Scrooge. وأغلق أذنيه عن سماع أنين المحتاجين, and he closed his ears to not hear the moaning of the needy. وأغمض عينيه عن رؤية الأطفال الجائعين, and he turned a blind eye to the starving children. ثم تزوج من نساء غنيات, and then he married wealthy women. واشترى بقرا وغنما, and he purchased cows and sheep and goats. فتوالدت, and then they multiplied. ونمت نموا مفرطا, they exploded in terms of their numbers. واشتغل بالتجارة بباقي ماله, and he conducted trade with the rest of his money. فربح ربحا كبيرا, and he made a lot of profit. حتى فاق أهل زمانه غنى, until he became the wealthiest person of his time. Subhanallah wa bihamdi. وبنى لنفسه جنتين, and he built 2 gardens for himself. أي بستانين كبيرين جدا, meaning two very big gardens. زرعهما أعنابا وكروما. He planted there grapes and vines. فأورقا وأثمرا, and they flourished and sprouted fruits. وأحاطهما, they means those two gardens. وأحاطهما بشجر النخيل, and he surrounded them, those two gardens, with palm trees. ثم نوع في المزروعات, and then he planted all sorts of plants. فجعل فيهما من أنواع الخضار, and so he put in there all sorts of vegetables, والفاكهة, and fruits. ولم ينقص منها شيئا, nothing was missing from those. وكانت الأشجار متواصلة متشابكة, and the trees were so dense that they were intertwined. لا يقطعها ويفصل بينها إلا النهر الجاري. There was nothing in between those trees but a flowing river. الذي يسقي الزروع بمائه الرقراق. A flowing river that was irrigating these plants with its refreshing flowing water. فتميز البستانان بالشكل الحسن. And so these two gardens stood out for their unique beauty. وترتيب الأنيق, and how well they were arranged. والطرقات التي جعلها ذاك الكافر, and all of its pathways in it. It's like a park, yani. It's pathways that kafir put in there. للتنزه والتمتع بمنظرهما, just for walking through and enjoying looking at the place. Yani, it's an attraction. وكان الجدير بفرطوس أن يؤمن بالله. And what Farutuz should have done was believe in God. الذي منحه كل تلك النعم, the one who gifted him all of those endowments. وأنعم عليه بها. وأن يشكره ويذعن له ويحمده. And he should have been thanking God and submitting to him and praising him. ولكن من الناس من تفتنهم الأموال. But some people are enticed by the money, deluded by the money. وتجعلهم يتكبرون, and it makes them arrogant. Subhanallah. And what else also besides the money does that to them? The beauty. Subhanallah. Ya Kareem. The point I want to make is how some people become deluded by very materialistic things, and then they will become deluded in the world. Delusional. Last thing we want to be is delusional and lacking self-awareness, walking around in a bubble, in reality cut off from the rest of the world, walking around everybody in the world, but in reality you're cut off from all the people in the world, living in your own bubble. So anyway, وهكذا كان فرطوس. That's how Fartus was. الذي لم يزدد إلا كفرا وطغيانا. The one who did not increase in anything but kufr and transgression. وأدركت يهوذا المؤمن الحاجة. And then Judah, the believer, he became poor. He became needy. فأراد أن يعمل أجيرا ليأكل. And he wanted to work so that he could eat. فقال لو ذهبت إلى أخي لأعمل عنده. So he said, why don't I go to my brother and work for him? فإنه لن يمانع. He'll look out for me. It doesn't say here he wanted to beg. Maybe in some versions of the story doesn't mention he wanted to work. It mentions that he was poor, so then he went to his brother. So according to this, he didn't go to his brother to beg. فجاء. So he went to him. ولم يصل إليه إلا بعد فتح العديد من الأبواب. And he didn't get to him until after passing through many doors, many gates. فلما دخل عليه سأله حاجته. So when he got to him, he asked him. And he went to ask him, if he had some work for him. فقال فرطوس الكافر. فقال فرطوس الكافر. So Fartus the kafir said, ألم أقاسمك المال نصفين? Didn't I split the money in half with you? فما صنعت بمالك? What did you do with your money? And according to some, what happened in the story was that he went to his brother and he encountered him. His brother encountered him with his entourage. That means like ran into him. And his brother was, the kafir that is, shooing him away. And then he took him in. He told him, come. And they went into the garden. فأجابه يهوذا المؤمن. So Judah the believer answered him. تصدقت به لله تعالى راجيا الأجر الوفير. I spent it in charity for the sake of God, hoping for great reward. فقال فرطوس متحكما. So then Fartus said to him sarcastically, إذن أنت من المتصدقين? He said, oh, you're a charity giver? ما أراك إلا سفيها مضيعا لماله. I don't see you as anything but a fool who wasted his money. وما جزاؤك عندي على سفاهتك إلا الحرمان. And you get nothing from me for your foolishness but deprivation. انظر ماذا صنعت بمالي. Look at what I did with my money. حتى صار عندي من الثروة وحسن الحال ما ترى. Look what I did with my money until I have amassed the comfort and the great situation that you see. وذلك أني كسبت وأنت سفهت. That's because I was earning and you were being a fool. أنا أكثر منك مالا. I have more money than you. ثم أخذ بيد أخيه المؤمن. Then he took his believing brother's hand. يريه ما عنده. Showing him all what he has. وفي نفسه الكبر والكفر. And within himself was arrogance and blasphemy. So he really thinks he's a big shot here. Remember Qarun? وأنكر البعث. And he denied resurrection. وفناء داره. And he denied that his abode could ever cease to be. وما زرع في البستانان. And he denied that what he has planted of two gardens would perish. وَالْعِيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ تَعَالَى. Foolish creed. And you know, some people have a belief that this world will keep going on forever. They don't believe in an afterlife. And who believes like that? People who believe that something like Star Trek will happen one day. وَذَلِكَ لِقِلَّةِ عَقْلِهِ. And this was his case because actually the smallness, the puny intellect, not punitive, it's puny. His puny intellect, small and weak, undersized, هكذا. His pygmy mind, his pint-sized reasoning, etc. وعدم يقينه بالله, and because of his lack of certainty about God in the first place, because of his lack of certainty about God, which, by the way, that's what justifies for a person being pleased with insurance, a lack of reliance on God. يقينه, the lack of reliance on God. وإعجابه بالحياة الدنيا وزينتها, and due to his being impressed with the world and its decoration. Yeah, you have to be able to see through that decoration there. So, for example, maybe you saw some of the fanciest cars you ever saw, concept cars. Very beautiful stuff. Maybe you saw some like this here. He has nice park that you can stroll through. And things like that would be impressive to the eye. But blink and then see it like toys. See it as small. See the shiny thing as something that will eventually become lackluster. Not shiny anymore. Smudged, broken, old, cracking, etc. Then you're going to know the deception of the beauty of this dunya. وإعجابه بالحياة الدنيا وزينتها وكفره بالآخرة, and that was due to his disbelief in the afterlife. ثم قال, and then he said, إن كان هناك بعث وقيامة كما تزعم, if there's a resurrection and a judgment day like you claim, فلن أخسر شيئا, then I won't lose in any way. فكما أعطاني الله هذه النعم في الدنيا فسيعطيني أفضل منها في الآخرة لكرامتي عنده. Just as God gave me this now in this world, if there really is an afterlife, he will give me better in the afterlife because of how much he loves me. Very delusional. And that's the assumption of many kafir people, which is that they say, I will go to heaven. So that's all they see. They didn't see any other option for themselves. And they would say, God loves me. They don't see really that they are bad people. فَوَعَظَهُ أَخُوهُ يَهُوذَا, and so his brother Judah preached to him, he talked to him. وَحَذَّرَهُ مِنَ الْكُفْرِ بِاللَّهِ الَّذِي خَلَقَهُ مِنْ تُرَابٍ, and he warned him from disbelieving in God who created him from soil. ثُمَّ جَعَلَهُ رَجُلًا سَوِيًّا, the one who created him from soil, yani, who created the original member of the species from soil, and then made him, behold, a man who stands upright. ثُمَّ يُمِيتُهُ وَيُحَاسِبُهُ, and then he will make him die. God will make him die and then judge him. So he was warning him. وأخبره أنه مؤمن بالله وحده, and he told him that he believed in Allah alone. لا شريك له, with no partner. ولا مثيل ولا شبيه, and with no likeness and with no similar. ولا مكان له, and without a place. خالق كل شيء, creator of everything. وقال له, and he said to him, إن الذي تعيرني به من الفقر فسيعود عليك بالعقاب. The poverty by which you look down on me and belittle me, the poverty for which you belittle me shall come back upon you. It shall come upon you as a punishment. And that's what he expects. فإنني أرجو أن يرزقني الله في الآخرة جنة خيرا من جنتك هذه الفانية. I hope that Allah will provide for me in the afterlife a garden better than this temporary garden of yours. ثم إنك لا تأمن على البستانين من العواصف. لا تأمن. Yeah. كيف هيك؟ لا تأمنوا. What page is this? Page 55. I think maybe this is an older copy. Older than my copy. That's like 20 years old here. 2004 is my copy. So, ثم إنك لا تأمن على البستانين من العواصف. And furthermore, you're not safe. You cannot feel that your two gardens are safe from the windstorms. وتقلب الرياح التي قد تجعل منها أوراقا جافة تتطاير هنا وهناك. Those windstorms that can send your leaves flying all over the place, dried out. وهذا الماء العذب إذا غار في الأرض فكيف تطلبه. And this sweet water you have flowing here, if it sinks down, if it subsides down into the earth, how will you fetch it? وَمَنْ ذَا يَنْصُرُكَ إِذَا شَاءَ اللَّهُ أَنْ يَخْذُلَكَ. And who shall support you if God wills to forsake you? ولما رأى يهوذا أن أخاه الكافر ما زال مصرا على كفره وطغيانه. And when Judah saw that his kafir brother did not stop insisting on his blasphemy and transgression, يمرح بين أزهاره وأشجاره, boastful between his flowers and trees. تركه وخرج. He left him. He went away from him and left. وفي الليل حدث ما توقعه يهوذا. And at night, what Judah anticipated happened. إذ أرسل الله تعالى مطرا غزيرا. Because God, exalted is He, sent abundant rain, وَعَوَاصِفَ كَثِيرَةً, and strong gusts of wind. أَحْرَقَتِ الْبُسْتَانَيْنِ وَهَدَمَتِ الْعَرَائِشِ. It singed, it scorched the two gardens and tore down the things that the vines would be on. I forgot what you call those. وَابْتَلَعَتِ الْأَرْضُ مَاءَ النَّهْرِ فَجَفَّ. And the earth absorbed the river, and so the river dried. وَأَصْبَحَتِ الْأَرْضُ رَضِيئَةً. And then the land became bad. لَا نَبَاتَ فِيهَا, plantless. وَلَا شَجَرٌ, treeless. وَقَدْ مُلِئَتْ بِالْوَحْلِ, full of mud. فَمَا اسْتَطَاعَ أَحَدٌ أَنْ يَمْشِيَ عَلَيْهَا. And no one could walk through it. ولما قام فرطوس صباحا ذهب كعادته إلى البستانين. So when Fartus got up in the morning, he went as usual to the gardens. ليتنزه ويتفيأ ويتفيأ تحت ظلال الكروم, to take a walk and relax under the shades of the vines. ولما رأى ما حل بهما جف حلقه. And when he saw what happened to them, his throat went dry. وأخذ يضرب كفا بكف. And he started to hit, smacking his palms together. It's like he's clapping. But means here he's like in agony. His heart is broken. He's devastated. علامة التحسر والتأسف, in a way that's a sign of the regret and the remorse. وندم على ما سلف منه, and he regretted what issued forth from him. من القول الذي كفر بسببه بالله العظيم وإنكاره للبعث. He regretted what he said of disbelieving in God the Great and denying resurrection. وقال يا ليتني لم أشرك بربي أحدا. And he said, woe is me, if only I had not associated anyone with my Lord. وتركه أصحاب السوء الذين كانوا يعينونه على كفره وتجبره لما صار فقيرا. And then the bad folk that he had, the bad company, the bad associates that he had, they abandoned him. Those who used to assist him in his kufr and his injustice, when he became poor, they abandoned him. That's when you're going to know who's in your corner. When your situation becomes tight, then the ones who were really in your corner, they're going to be there for you. And the ones who weren't in your corner, they're not going to be there for you. فغدا وحيدا, so he became alone. لا ناصر له, helpless, without a supporter. إذ إن الأعمال التي تكون لله عز وجل ثوابها خير وعاقبتها حميدة رشيدة. Since indeed the deeds that are for the sake of God, invincible and great, their reward is better, and their outcome is praiseworthy and guided. Wallahu ta'ala a'lam.